All right, so the Rams had a virtual meeting with Auburn pass rusher Derick Hall, who is my 13th overall edge defender in this class. And I'm going to tell you what my thoughts are, why I think it's a fit, why I don't think it's a fit, and whether or not he makes any sense. So before we get into that, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment, and let's dive into it. So Derick Hall is somebody on tape. Immediately he stands out as a pass rusher. When I talk about edge defenders and edge rushers, he's certainly an edge rusher. He needs to get better in the run defensive part of his game, and he does need to develop more of a pass rush plan because he simply put doesn't have the best bend in this class. He is not very bendy off the edge. He doesn't turn the edge very well. And when you look at overall, I think it's going to make it pretty hard to, obviously come off the edge. It makes it hard for him. So he goes right through offensive tackles. Well, at that 6'2", 250 pound, it's a good weight, good size. But overall, though, you can't just assume he's going to be bullying the best pass protectors in the NFL. So looking at Derick Hall, there is a reason why I wouldn't put this guy. The Rams are meeting potentially to pick him at 36, right? Or 37. They're meeting with him potentially for those third round picks at 69, 77. So if you're looking at it, let's first start off there. We need to know exactly what are we talking about here? What round could this guy go in? And I'm thinking it's the third round. I have him as a late day 2 guy. To me, I think he definitely makes sense at pick 77. It makes a little sense at pick 69, but I think the second pick in the third round would be a good value for the Rams, depending on who they end up getting. As I've said, I believe the Rams need to double dip on the edge defender position. I think they need true edge defenders because they're not just replacing Leonard Floyd. You also need to make sure you have a fielded team. And when you look at who's currently on the roster, there are guys that are exciting. There are guys that you want to root for, but there's no surefire guys. Well, we saw it in Michael Hoyt last year at 310 pounds was nothing short of, incredible, right? But here's the thing though. Okay. At the end of the day, he's going to move down to from 310 to likely 275. We don't know if he will be that effective at that weight. We don't know if he could play at that weight. We don't know how he's going to be this year, right? We don't know how much that had to do with certain players being on the team, whether that's Jalen Ramsey, whether that is Leonard Floyd rushing off the other side of the edge. So this is important here. You have Michael Hoyt, who is probably the best player that they have right now at that edge position. You have 7th rounder out of Montana State in Daniel Hardy, who I do very much like. I like his long-term potential, but throwing him in the fire as a starter, I don't really vibe with right now. And then you have Keir Thomas, who is a UDFA who worked his tail off and can play the run well, but he's not a great rusher. He needs to get better in that department. So my point is the Rams don't have a lot of help on the edge. They need to go out and they need to get at least one guy. I think they need to double dip. So if this is your idea of addressing the edge position, I don't think it makes a lot of sense. I think this is your second guy out of maybe 3 that you pick in this draft out of 11 picks, or you pick 2 and he's your second guy. But either way, he needs to be your second option. He needs to be the second time you've addressed the position because Hall could be really good, but Hall is going to take some time. He needs to develop more to his game because what he did in college, while it worked for 19.5 sacks, and he definitely had success forcing 5 fumbles, he's stiff. He's not a guy that's going to bend around off the edge like Von Miller. He's not that. He's going to try to run through you. So he needs to develop more, obviously more for his counter game, but just in general, more in his pass rushing toolbox because it's just not going to work at the NFL. You're going to get stonewalled by the best of the best. That's the problem. So the thing that happens here when I look at Derick Hall, I see the fit for the Rams. I really do. But he is a situational pass rusher. Right now, that's what he is. He's a pass rush specialist. He's a situational pass rusher that needs to very much improve on his ability to stop the run and his tackling. Honestly, he's not a great tackler. So he's got great agility. He's in position to make those plays, but he just doesn't really make them. And so right now, if he's struggling with tackling, it's only going to be harder in the NFL. So NFL coaching, he's going to need to develop in that area. But if you're looking for a second guy or even a third guy, you draft him as a situational guy that maybe you get a more well-rounded, higher floor, lower ceiling. So he falls in the draft. You get 3 guys. That makes sense. But what I see here is somebody who's explosive. He's got great get off, but at the end of the day, he's going to go with power more than he is going to go with bend off the edge because he doesn't have that. So I think that's a thing here. The pass rush plan is good. So going through and watching the tape and everything, it's good for the college game. The NFL, he needs to improve. He is physically limited in the fact he doesn't have amazing bend off the edge. I keep bringing that up, but it's a real thing. He's a highly athletic edge, though, and I think when you look at a way for him to improve his game, I think it really starts with the run game. If he can improve in a run game, he can be a starter. Honestly, he could be a starter day one if he makes strides in the run game, training camp, mini camp, all of that. So that'll be something. And we don't know. This is a opportunity here for him. If they were to draft him, there's not a lot of talent on this roster right now at the position. It's not a knock on the three guys that are there. My point is there are literally just three guys in the building right now. So they need to add more to this room. And so opportunity certainly knocking for a guy like Derick Hall who could come in and fight for starting reps right away. So that's a good thing for him. Meeting with him virtually still counts as meeting with him. Right? I bring it up because I think this counts. I don't know if this is going to be called a pre-draft visit, but I think it is a pre-draft visit. I'm pretty sure this is one of those top 30 visits, and those are serious. That's when you have some serious interest, and so I think they definitely matter. I want to see him improve his hand usage for sure as a pass rusher, and then again, I can't help but say like he needs to work on his run game. But at the end of the day, does he make sense for the Rams? I see the fit. I don't see the fit. Overall, the final verdict is I totally think he makes sense for the Rams. But with a caveat, they have already addressed the position in the second round, and he is either their 69th or 77th pick. If they have already addressed the position, then okay, you want to go out and get a guy who you think is just going to be a really good pass rusher, might take some time, but you feel good about his ability to develop, in the run game, by all means. But if this is your first pick, this is you addressing the edge defender position, you have failed. Because it's not that he can't be good. It's that you need guys to literally come in right away. You need a guy to replace Leonard Floyd. You needed an edge defender before you got rid of Leonard Floyd. So that's where I'm at right now. I like Derick Hall. He's my 13th edge. It's a very good edge defender class. I think it's somewhat underrated. And so for that reason, 13th doesn't mean bad. I know everyone obsesses over top 10, right? I'm not as high on him as, say, Jaron Hall. But that fit there for the Rams that I just did that video on, I think that, that makes a lot of sense. You guys can check out that video at the end of this video. It'll be, pinned if you haven't already seen it. But I think at the end of the day, you have the Auburn connection. Obviously Les Snead has talked to a lot of Auburn guys. They've drafted Auburn guys in the past. So that's obviously there. Plus playing in the SEC, that's always good. But I still think it's important to realize while he might be fun, and you see his tape and you're like, wow, this guy can rush the passer, there's more to it than the way he rushes the passer first. And second, there's more to it than rushing the passer. These are edge defenders, not edge rushers. Right now, he's just an edge rusher. I can't count on him to stop the run. Coaching matters. So at the NFL level, he can definitely get better. But as of right now, I think he makes sense as a day 2 option in the third round, and the third round only. And I think if they go Will McDonald or Felix Anudike-Uzomah or somebody like that with the second round pick that they have, then yeah, you go ahead, you pick Derick Hall if you feel like he's one of the best available, and you make it work. I don't think there is no reason to assume that any of these guys they currently have on the roster are shoo-ins to start. As much as we like, in my opinion, I thought Michael Hoyt played really well last year. But as much as we like Michael Hoyt, the floodgates have opened, right? He's back. They signed him. But we've seen guys that, Jalen Ramsey, right? Jalen Ramsey, Bobby Wagner, Leonard Floyd. Those guys were great last year too. None of them reside on the roster. So I wouldn't give anything a shoe-in title unless that player is Aaron Donald or Jacoby Durant or Ernest Jones on the defense. Not even Jordan Fuller. Until I see it, he's had a hard time staying healthy. Until I see it, I wouldn't give him the shoe-in title either. I think there's only 3 guys on this defense that are 100% starting day 1. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. When you look at Jacoby Durant, he's their number 1 cornerback right now. Could somebody challenge him that they draft? certainly. But right now, Jacoby Durant's their number one corner. Aaron Donald is their number one defensive player and arguably their number one player, going into this year. And then you have Ernest Jones, who they absolutely love at inside backer. So that's what I have. In conclusion, I believe Derick Hall makes a lot of sense for the Rams. But again, caveat, third round. I'm curious what you guys think, though. Let me know in the comments section below. Do you want Derick Hall? Is this somebody that you like? Is this somebody you don't like? Where do you have him going? And if you have an edge defender ranking, where does he rank? Let me know in the comments section below. I'm out of here. I'll see you guys soon. Later, folks.